Hey, what's up, y'all? It's N Square Sports back. We're going to be talking about some NFL contract disputes and some holdouts like Trent Williams and Melvin Gordon. So we're going to start with Trent Williams. So Nick, give us a breakdown.
Trent Williams is one of the best offensive tackles in the game. He plays for the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins are sort of a mediocre team right now. They're in the middle. They lost Alex Smith to a gruesome injury last year. They signed Case Keenum this year and drafted Dwayne Haskins in the first round, I believe the 15th overall. This Trent Williams holdout is apparently not about money, according to one of his current teammates. He says he just doesn't like the training staff with the Washington Redskins. Yes, he does want money, and that would help, but he really wants out of Washington, and he does not want to play for the Redskins. There has been teams that apparently have been looking to trade or just sort of are rumored to be looking around and considering the possibilities for Trent Williams. This is his last year in his contract, I believe. So, Nick, what are some possible teams that are looking at this?
So I would say the top three are probably the Houston Texans, the New England Patriots, and the Cleveland Browns. And each team makes an interesting case why they should trade for him. The Texans, they need this offensive line help in general. That's really their last piece, I think, before they can really contend. So with an offensive left tackle specifically for Trent Williams, I think it would make Deshaun Watson a lot more safe in the pocket and just behind center. So that's their case. For the Patriots, they just lost their left tackle Trent Brown this offseason to the Raiders, and they need a left tackle to replace him. So I think that would be a good piece right there for them to have. And then the Cleveland Browns, I think they need some offensive line help as well. They wouldn't be in a terrible spot without him, but I think it would help their chances because they have a stacked team. I don't know how it's going to work out, but with the solid cornerstone left tackle, I think it would definitely help them. So those are some of the teams. So what do you think?
The Browns one, I mean, they had like a top 5 offensive line last year. They also did trade away one of their offensive guards to the Giants. 2 years ago, they lost Joe Thomas. That's a pretty big piece. I think that he could replace him. It's an interesting decision. I don't really see them going after him. But if they did, it would make sense. Houston Texans makes sense. I don't think it'll happen. The Texans reports seem that they're pretty happy and content with their players, whether the fans like it or not. The Patriots is an interesting choice just for maybe this final push this season. Trying to get that one more Super Bowl. They're squeezing it all out. That's definitely possible. I don't know when he'll be traded. I feel like it's probably going to be during the middle of the season. Like, we're not going to see a trade for Trent Williams anytime soon. It's going to be, I think, going to happen out of need, and a team realizes, oh shoot, we don't have an offensive line, cornerstone.
And you can also, injuries happen, and in the middle of the season, a left tackle could go down, be out for the season, and that's what you're talking about, where teams will need a left tackle. So there's definitely teams out there that want him. We just have to wait and see who bites the bullet and decides to go with him.
Mm-hmm. Whoever gets him is getting one of the best in the game, and the rights to sign him early for next season. So if you look at it like that, there is good potential in Trent Williams. So Melvin Gordon, he recently has told the Chargers that he wants to be traded. He said, the Chargers offered $10 million a year, which is a joke and quite frankly disrespectful to one of the top running backs in the league. Nick, where do you think he's going to be traded? When do you think he's going to be traded? What's going to happen?
Man, it's tough for me to say exactly when and where. I think some of the teams could be maybe the Colts. That would really juice their chances. I think they have a good chance already. I still say Miami. That would be a cool place for him. He might like Miami and not football wise, but life wise. And so those are the teams that I think could trade for him. And yeah, I do agree that it's kind of a joke to offer him just $10 million, I mean, they said his agent and him said if they didn't offer him a big contract, he was going to request a trade, and he did. So I don't know where he's going to end up, but any team that wants him and gets him will be glad to have him because he is one of the top 10 running backs right now.
I think the Chargers have the depth with Austin Eckler and Justin Jackson to where they're going to be fine. They might lose 1 or 2 more games without Melvin Gordon, but it's not going to be a massive impact. Possibly the Dolphins, if they really believe in their coach and gosh darn it, what's his name? Ryan Fitzpatrick and their other quarterback, Josh Rosen. There we go.
Yeah.
And maybe it happens during the middle of the season if he's still available for trade. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the Bills. I think that can help Josh Allen and relieve some pressure off of him, give him another weapon in the passing game, as Melvin Gordon is one of the better pass catching running backs. Another possibility I like is the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think this would be fantastic for Bruce Arians. He can sort of use him like how we used David Johnson or Bruce Arians could use Melvin Gordon like he did David Johnson with Arizona. And there, he had a historical season that year. There is good potential in this. I think the trade's going to happen. I think pretty soon. And I could see this within the next week as preseason football starting pretty much now. I could see it happening really soon. And quite frankly, someone's going to pay for him. And it's probably going to be cheap, to be honest. A third round, maybe 2/3, or maybe a second round for 2021. That's a good deal.
Your point about their depth that they have on the Chargers, and you said they could lose probably a couple more games without him. I feel like the Chargers are in a spot right now where their roster is stacked and they're ready to compete. So a couple games here and there is not going to be a huge deal for them. I think they're a playoff team, and kind of like in the NBA where you have to rest players, I think it's going to be kind of like that for them. They're be like, well, we don't need them, but we just need to be ready by the playoffs. It doesn't really matter if we lose 4 games or 2 games. It's not going to really impact them that much because I think they are a 13-3, 12-4 caliber team with or without him. So it just that 2 or 4 losses, I think that's what it would be.
The 2 losses can make a difference, but I do agree that even with 2 more losses on their schedule, they're going to be in the playoffs. Whether they're a 10-6 team or a 13-3 team, that's sort of the range I have them in. With Melvin Gordon, I think they're probably a 13-3, 12-4 team without 11-5, 10-6, I'd say. But still, that's a great record.
Yeah.
And they have the pieces to do it all. Do they need Melvin Gordon? Absolutely not.
They don't.
And there's some teams that do need a running back, such as the Bucks, that can elevate him to the next level. The Bills maybe help that defense out by giving them a run game. It's an interesting time for the running backs because of all these payments that need to happen, and all these signings that some of it needs to happen now for these. These running backs are sort of feeling like they really aren't worth much.
Yeah. And
they need to cash in. And quite frankly, your running backs got one big contract in their career, and then they sort of fall off a cliff.
Yeah. And I think that has to do with the beating they take every game, because I think they would get bigger contracts, more than one of them, if they could stay healthy. But it's hard for running backs to stay healthy for more than 6 or 7 years before they just can't do it anymore physically. So I think that's a big reason why, and that's why I think they get paid a lot less than other positions. It's just because they can't there's so many running backs also that come through that it's kind of just like a cycle. Very rarely do you get a superstar running back that lasts 10 years. That just doesn't really happen. So
we're seeing so many of these running backs come from the 3rd round, the 4th round, 5th round. Alvin Kamara, Jordan Howard, Kareem Hunt, all 3rd round, and I think Jordan Howard's a 6th round pick. They were doing fine in the NFL, and you got them at a cheap price. It's easy to find good running back talent or to make a running back work in your system. That it's easy, like you said, to sort of recycle them and go through to find the next point.
Yeah.
Is there any other points?
No, I think that's it. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.